when the light of God flows freely into your outer vehicles, you blessed hearts find yourself on the precipice of new and exciting life with which to engage. It has been my honor to observe the sons and daughters of God and interact where possible, according to cosmic law. Thousands of years, so that there can be a fabric of the story of God life upon earth, told and retold, examined for the new life streams that come into incarnation for the first time, for the mighty I Am Presence, petitioning the Manus of the root race to come into embodiment. All of this I hold in the book of life of the sons and daughters of God, passed to me by hierarchy and entrusted to my heart, so that there can be unmistakably the truth of cosmic law and the reality of the Christ consciousness born upon the heart flame of every son and daughter of God. Can you begin to imagine what life would be like if you did not have the flame of God coursing through you? It would cease to exist, and life would be finite. Sadly, there are those that have bought into the lie that there is only one opportunity to live life, and that life is always outside of the circle of influence of their own God presence being allowed to take dominion in their life to the full extent of becoming the Christ consciousness and God in action. You blessed hearts know better, for you have felt the stirring within your members of the charge of God consciousness. You have understood what it means to surrender to the mighty I Am Presence, for many of you have entered into the sacred ritual of giving your all to the mighty I Am Presence and receiving back God direction, God fulfillment in all areas of your life, or surely in that immediate necessity that required the hand of God to make the difference. I, the goddess of liberty, impart to you the undaunted God determination to be free to enjoy all of the blessings that the mighty I Am Presence has dreamed for you, desired for you, entrusted into the threefold flame of your own heart, so that you might have the close proximity of the purity of the divine nature of God. You need not look outside of yourself, but go within your own heart flame. All that come and speak directly to you as ascended and cosmic beings, as archangels and archai, as Elohim, as our own anointed representatives, are to simply remind you of the great and glorious mighty I Am Presence, and point you in the direction to recognize the signs of the charge of God consciousness, and how the difference is made when you hold fast to the hand of God, when you allow your own vehicles of consciousness to be filled to overflowing, when you make room in your life to become God, not listening to the peepings and mutterings of old doctrine and dogma that has spewed out the lie of the serpent's tongue for thousands and thousands of years, trying to separate you from the truth of your identity. Oh, they will in time be able to embrace the truth of cosmic law. But how many cycles will it take? Surely you have already recognized in your own life the difference it makes when you allow the mighty I Am Presence to fill you. To knit together these vehicles of consciousness and establish the swirling action of the unfed flame upon the altar of your heart to engulf your life, to set in motion all of those events that are to come to pass by the hand of God, working the works of God, the miracles of God, the creation of God. What a poor example mankind continues to make, feeding into the separation of the outer vehicles and relegating God to some heaven world that may or may not have mercy upon them, may send His Son to come again to bless them. You are that son and daughter of God. You hold the light of the great I Am securely upon your own heart flame, within and around your life stream. You are vested with the charge and responsibility of all that has been written down and established from this very altar as cosmic law. You are that cosmic law, and as such, daily you are proving the law in your own life. You are understanding how the very actions in which you are engaged, the thoughts that you allow to course through your mind, the energy that passes through you, is creating the world, is establishing a current of light that allows you to be preceded by the light of your mighty I Am Presence, to have that light follow you, be at your side, to the right, to the left, to be above you, beneath you, encircling you round about, preparing you with the shield to protect you from the onslaught of unreality, so that you might carry the staff of God power and the sword of truth that you wield as you proclaim the presence of God within. Oh, if you could only awaken within so many of these life streams that are locked away in their dungeons of unreality, the truth of their identity as the Christ light, freeing them from bondage, extending the liberty that all are naturally the inheritor. But sadly, the jailer of their heart is their own human consciousness, their own human identity as ego, emotion, habits. And oftentimes, the very surroundings of their culture imprisons their heart flame for a time. But you have come to understand that there is no jailer that can hold forever the flame of God that burns upon the altar of the heart. For you have found your freedom. You have expressed the will of your God presence. You have invoked the light of God to take dominion in your life. And you are continuing to refine the vehicles of consciousness so that as you move through life, you are establishing a pathway of divinity that lights the world, that others will follow by your example, by your good deeds and the fruit of your action. For that is the true and greatest lasting legacy that you can lead, leaving the traces of the consciousness of the Christ, recognizing that the flame of God that burns upon the altar of your heart is none other than that of the mighty I Am Presence. And where that presence abides, there you are freely encouraged to believe the very best of yourself, to express the virtues of the Christ, to unfurl the God qualities, and to establish a momentum of the rays of your own electronic body, stretching forth into the outer world, in the realms where there is no opposition to the hand of God that can stay the victory of the light. Why do you suppose it is there are those that come to the shores of this United States of America and first see the statue in the harbor of my flame and tear a little, are stirred with joy and a remembrance that they know not why? It is because, blessed ones, the charge of my radiance in and around that harbor conveys the true liberty of a God-free being that is intended to express the fullness of the mighty I Am Presence in all ways at all times, working through the destiny of that mighty I Am Presence, fulfilling the divine attributes of the victories of the attainment of that mighty I Am Presence, of establishing the desires of the heart of that mighty I Am presence. And they may not know what to call it, why such emotion wells up inside. But it is because they have touched my flame, that flame that they will not forget. Throughout recorded history, you can see those testimonies of immigrants that have come to these shores, that have witnessed to the relief, the sense of freedom to finally arrive, perhaps not with 1 cent to their name, any resources whatsoever, save the opportunity to be free and to express the desires of their heart. Oh, in time they will become so accustomed that you find that even those same immigrants, if not tethered to the hand of God sufficiently, will fall into the tracks of the human consciousness and the mass consciousness of those who have lost their way. But somewhere in the recesses of their memory is that record, just as there is that record of their divinity written upon the flame of their heart for all times. And that the lords of karma, the manus of the root race, depend upon. For it is anchored there, and at some point in the history of that life stream, there will be the turning over of the traces of their human creation and the embracing of that flame once more. So you see, blessed hearts, all is not lost, though it may look dark. When there are those life streams upon earth that know the presence of God to be the truth of cosmic law, that the flame of God burns brightly upon the altar of their hearts and is not stifled or shut away, and is allowed to express freely and to overflow, to affect the earth body herself, then God has won, and the victory of the golden age is secure. But it is not without the striving, the dedication, the constancy of the flame that those who know better will engage. You, blessed hearts, are the faithful and true disciples of the ascended masters. You have understood what it means to stand and keep on standing when your feet may become tired, the back weary, the voice weak. The flame upon the altar of your heart is strong, fiery, and connects your life stream in each vehicle of consciousness directly with the mighty I Am presence. You are undaunted in your fervor, and you know that what you accomplish daily, the timeliness, the responsibility you fulfill, the sacrifices, all are winning your victory, proving the law, and ultimately will be counted as most important for the anchoring of the golden age. Why do you suppose? It depends on each one entrusted in embodiment that has the vestment of their Holy Christ presence, blazing the threefold flame of the heart into the physical, emotional, mental memory. It is because, blessed ones, it is the avenue by which the hand of God works, flowing out into these realms. Oh, surely the mighty Elohim, the lords of hierarchy, of the pranic breaths, the archangels and archai of the pranic breaths, the chowans of the pranic breaths, all with their network of devotees are charging each of these, the elemental forces of nature that comprise the physical, emotional, mental, and memory bodies, are establishing a realm in which the very threefold flame of your heart may take dominion. You have heard the like attracts like. Do you suppose for one moment that if the elemental forces of nature were not charged with the life force of the consciousness of God, that your heart flame would be able to flow into it, command it, establish creation with it? Your vehicles of consciousness that you wear are an example of what your threefold flame has charge of on the instant of your birth. And throughout that embodiment, you are proving the law. What can God accomplish through these vehicles that you wear? As you prove the law, you are given charge over greater and greater dominion. It is important for you to understand that at every turn you are setting an example, not merely what you must accomplish for your mighty I Am presence, but what others might see is possible if one applies the law. The threefold flame of your heart is God. Your mighty I Am presence desires you to allow the presence of God to be the hands, the feet, the head, the throat, the heart, to be that energy in motion that you emanate, that holds all of these lower vehicles in a state of readiness to respond to the slightest desire of the mighty I Am presence. If your emotional body is depleted, all falls flat, and you have not the strength nor the courage to mount any offensive or any defense that may be required. So you see, blessed hearts, all that you are and all that you ever hope to be is the mighty I Am presence charge. You are nothing without the mighty I Am presence, for you would cease to be if your presence desired to withdraw the support of your life stream. But that is not the case, for wherever there is the slightest flicker of the flame of God, the mighty I Am Presence holds on, patiently waiting for just one spark of return that says, I hear you, I believe, I have faith, I love, I am. So you see, blessed hearts, inscribed upon the story of the threefold flame and the sons and daughters of God throughout the ages, is the story of the rise and fall, of the consciousness and the vibration that allows the presence of God to either flourish or be locked away. It is always the choice of those incarnate. What will they believe? What will they adopt as a way of life? What will be the mantra that passes their lips? Will they proclaim the presence of God, or will they deny the presence of God? You, as the devotees of the mighty I Am Presence and the Ascended Masters, have proclaimed the mighty I Am Presence as your way of life. This is why you have flourished, why you have been able to throw off those fetters of human creation that would have kept you bound to the old ways. You have allowed the flame of God to burn upon the altar of your heart and carry you, lifting you into the arms of waiting angels, cosmic beings, one and all, so that they could charge you with their consciousness and their momentum, refresh you when you are weary, encourage you with the truth of cosmic law to stand and continue to stand and stay the course, to have courage even when others would be fearful, to love God even in the face of all manner of initiation or trial. For it is that presence of God that will see you through all things. And no matter how challenging life may present to you, know that at the core of each challenge is something you must learn, is an attainment that you lack and must garner, is an understanding of your own interaction with life that requires the charge of God consciousness to flow through you, to anchor the truth, the identity of God. All these things and more, blessed ones, are at your availability. For the presence has laid out the banquet table for you, that you might eat of the body and drink of the consciousness of the mighty I Am Presence. Having that consciousness assimilate through these vehicles so that at any time the response of God is only a flame away, as close as your heart flame. And every vehicle is readied and prepared to have the hand of God move through and fulfill the need of the hour. Do not find yourself sliding back into antiquity of doctrine and dogma that would separate you from the hand of God. Do not allow for that very presence of your own mighty I Am presence to be denied access to your mind, your emotions, your physical body, to flow through with the higher mental body of God as the mind of that perfection of God that desires to activate and charge through these vehicles the right direction and course for your life stream. Do not allow others to tell you you are not God in action, for you know better, for you have felt the hand of God at work through you. You have expressed the truth of cosmic law from your own throat chakra. Your crown has fired with the stirring of your own mighty I Am presence, igniting the way for the mind of God. You have felt the Kundalini fires course through the spinal altar, and you have come to know intimately your own mighty I Am presence. How could anyone tell you otherwise? For you have experienced it, and your experiences are real. Allow the flame of God to continue to burn brightly and to sweep you up higher and higher until one day your feet will not be able to touch the ground, for your mighty I Am presence will be calling you home into the ascension and the light. And what a glorious day of freedom and true liberty that will be. I, the goddess of liberty, proclaim your freedom this day and the liberty to be God where you are. Fulfill your divine presence and be the I Am that I am that is upon the altar of your heart. I thank you.